The beginning of intervention is what you're going to live or die on. The pre-intervention work that you do before you go and address the identified patient, the person who's in trouble. And because most people don't realize that 90% of intervention work, at least, is working with families, is working with the loved ones of the individual in question. It's getting them prepared and ready to be able to speak to this issue and concern with their loved one in a loving and respectful way, to bring the reality of the situation back to the forefront, not the sleight of hand that addicts and alcoholics are all about.
The first step is getting everyone together and collect the team, the people closest to the identified patient, to get together and discuss the patient's situation. It's important that everyone knows what's going on, what the real story is, or as close to the real story as we can get, because during the intervention itself, the identified patient will try to throw you for a curveball, be like, well, this is happening too. But when everybody's in the know, there's no curveballs. In getting everyone in this intervention team together, we can kind of unravel the stories, aspects of the patient's situation that one person may have known, one person may not have known at all. So that's like the first step is getting everyone together and collecting all of that information.
It's about getting back to the truth of the matter. So it's listening in the beginning. It's gathering data. It's gathering information. Talking to the individuals. One of the most interesting parts of pre-intervention work is that if you get 4 or 5 or 6 friends, co-workers, family members in a room together, all of whom profess to know the identified patient very well. If you get them all in a room together and say, okay, each of you take 5 minutes and tell me what brought you to this? What made you think that now was the time to do something about this in this person's life? Because we know this has been going on for some time. Why now? What's going on? Tell me a little bit about your relationship with them and what events have transpired to bring you to this, to intervention. And invariably, as you go around the room, people who would profess to know this individual like the back of their hand will say, well, I didn't know that. And so much comes to light, not just for you as the individual gathering the information and trying to put a game plan together, but other members of the team become more aware of, in fact, how bad it really is. Because one of the main tools of a practicing addict or alcoholic is compartmentalization.
When the patient tells one family member one thing, one family member another, they're telling the girlfriend another thing entirely, it helps them create this world where not everybody can gang up on them at once.
It could be anyone from the mother, the father, grandparents, brothers, sisters, significant others, children. It's all going to be case by case and unique. It could literally be anyone who's still involved, and then there's different people, of course, you're going to want to take out of the equation. Someone who might be a hindrance, someone who's not invested, someone who might have an ulterior motive and is going to jeopardize it. It's going to sabotage the entire process if you keep them.
I think it's important to have a good cross-section of the person's life, family, friends, co-workers, so that those areas of their life are represented in this, so that they sense the breadth of the work that we're doing here, so that their life is represented by this group without overwhelming them. Because if you've got 13 people sitting in a room with letters they want to read, and you've got an addict or alcoholic that walks into the room, their brain begins to redline because it's become a part of the culture, intervention. Right? They walk into the room, they see a bunch of people that mean a lot to them and one guy they don't know. Blink of an eye, they know it's an intervention. They know. Most practicing addicts and alcoholics out there who have loved ones that are still active in their lives are wondering when it's going to happen. They're prepared. They've been planning for it, right? I can't tell you how many people I've come across who have said along the way, he said to us at times, don't even think about intervening on me. They'll try to head it off at the pass. They'll try to cut off that option before the fact. A good cross-section, but 6 maximum is what I like. I like 6 or less. You get more than that, you're overwhelming the individual and you're making it impossible for them to track information. It's just too much. And everybody's basically saying the same thing in their own words, so that the person gets a sense that they're all speaking to me individually from the heart, but they're all saying the same thing to me. They're all on the same page. The compartmentalization is gone. The bluster is gone. The facade has been removed. We're down to the brass tacks. I'm being confronted with an undeniable truth, in a very, very respectful way by all these people that genuinely care about me. That's the effect that you want it to have. If you got 13 people firing off letter after letter after letter, they stop listening at a certain point and start trying to dismantle. It becomes overwhelming. They can't take it. So you want them to feel that we've covered the bases, but we've kept it small out of respect for you, because we don't want to take your business out on the street unnecessarily. We've kept it to a small group because you also want the right to be able to come back. Intervention is not an event, it's a process. And by that I mean, when you sit down for the intervention, you have to have the team prepared and understanding that this is just the next indicated step, that we've been involved in an intervention process in preparing for this meeting. This meeting is just the next indicated step in the intervention process. We're prepared if he says yes, we're prepared if he says no. Either way, we know we have the next indicated step mapped out for us, so we're never caught without a next move. Most people say no initially. They have no reason not to. Why wouldn't they say no? We love you, we want you to get help, this is terribly important to us, we all know it's necessary, it's vital, you're in big trouble, you got to do something. And he's sitting and he says no. He loses nothing. He surrenders nothing by saying no. Now what do you got? Mostly wants to make sure, a lot of people just want to make sure you're really serious about this. That this isn't just some, nonchalant event that you put 15 minutes into, right? So when you then present them with what happens if no is the final answer, they reevaluate, and the great majority come around to yes. The great majority of the people that I intervene on get to yes within 48 hours.